I spiked her drink with enough roofies to knock out a linebacker. Watching her eyes glaze over in that dimly lit Manhattan bar, her laughter slurring into oblivion as she confessed the embezzlement scheme that could have landed us both in federal prison. The next morning, as she blinked awake in my apartment, pretending the night never happened, I slid the recorded confession across the coffee table like a loaded gun, her empire built on my silence, now crumbling under the weight of what I'd saved her from. But revenge isn't a straight shot. It's a boomerang that carves out your soul on the way back. And by the time I realized she'd been playing me from the start, the blood on my hands was metaphorical. No. Wait. It was real. But whose? That's the question that keeps the lawyers up at night. My name's Lila Harper. And if you think corporate America's a shark tank, try being the chum who keeps the biggest predator afloat. It started 6 months ago, in the glass and steel bowels of Apex Financial in Midtown. I was the mid-level analyst nobody noticed, 32, single, scraping by on ramen and ambition in a one-bedroom walk-up in Hell's Kitchen. My boss, Victoria Tori Langford, was the queen bitch of quantitative trading. Sharp suits, sharper tongue, and a Rolodex of senators that could make your head spin. She was 45, divorced twice, with cheekbones that could cut glass and a laugh like shattered crystal. Everyone whispered she slept her way to the top. I knew better. She devoured her way there, one backstab at a time. That night at the Velvet Rope, our team-building happy hour that was really just Tori scouting for dirt, she got hammered on martinis faster than a Wall Street crash. I'd been nursing a gin and tonic, dodging her predatory gaze, when she cornered me by the jukebox, some ironic Springsteen blaring about working on the dark side of the street. Lila. Sweetie, she slurred, her breath like expensive gin and desperation. You're the only one who gets it. The numbers. They're lying. I should have walked. But she grabbed my arm, nails digging in like talons, and spilled it all. Apex's latest algo trading fund? Cooked books. She'd siphoned $2.7 million into offshore accounts, masking it as volatility hedges. If the SEC sniffed it out, we'd both fry, me for signing off on the reports she'd bullied me into falsifying. You covered for me, didn't you, my good girl? Her words were a venomous purr, eyes swimming with booze and something darker, calculation. She stumbled toward the exit, heels clacking like gunfire, straight into a cluster of feds in plainclothes nursing beers at the bar. I saw the badges glint under their jackets. They were there for a tip-off, probably on another firm. But Tori's sloppy exit screamed, "Arrest me." Heart pounding. I intercepted. She's with me, I told the lead agent, flashing my most innocent smile. Just a girls' night. She's the designated lightweight. They bought it. Or, at least pretended to, waving us out into the humid July night. I hailed a cab, bundled her into the back, and took her to my place instead of hers, safer, I thought, away from prying eyes. She passed out on my couch, mascara-streaked face like a war zone. I cleaned her up, brewed coffee, even tucked a blanket over her. By dawn, she was stirring, head in hands, and I handed her the mug. Rough night. Huh. Tori's eyes snapped open, sharp as ever, scanning the room like a predator reassessing its cage. She sat up, smoothing her skirt, and fixed me with that boardroom stare. What? What happened? Her voice was honey over razor blades, feigning amnesia. I laughed it off, light, professional. You had one too many. Almost caused a scene with some suits. I got you out. She sipped the coffee, gaze never leaving mine. Suits? Feds. A flicker, recognition. Then denial. God. Lila, you're a lifesaver. Literally. She stood, wobbling only slightly, and pulled me into a hug that felt like a vice. Perfume sharp as ambition. Don't tell a soul. Our little secret. I nodded, stomach twisting. Secrets were my currency at Apex. But this one burned. That afternoon, back at the office, she promoted me junior VP, a bump from analyst purgatory. Whispers rippled through the trading floor. Lila's Tori's golden girl now. I basked in it, ignoring the itch at the back of my neck, the sense that I'd just inked a deal with the devil in Louboutins. Weeks blurred into a haze of late nights and liquid lunches. Tori leaned on me harder, more falsified reports, more off-book transfers. She'd drop hints in elevators, her voice a conspiratorial whisper. Remember that night? You saved my ass. This is us against them. I nodded, complicit, the noose tightening. But cracks showed. Emails from HR about irregularities in the fund. A whistleblower tip in the Wall Street Journal. Anonymous but pointed. Tori's mood swung wild. Charm 1 hour. Ice the next. She'd flip on interns for spilled coffee. Then by the floor champagne to celebrate resilience. One evening, in her corner office overlooking Times Square, she cracked open a bottle of Veuve Clicquot. To loyalty, she toasted, clinking her flute against mine. The city lights danced like fireflies on steroids below us. Lila, you're family now. Closer than blood. Her hand lingered on mine. Warm. Insistent. I pulled back gently, flattered. But boundaries. She laughed, but her eyes narrowed. Prude. Loosen up. Power's seductive. You know. That night, alone in my apartment, I found the recording I'd made on my phone, her drunken confession. Slurred but damning. Insurance. I told myself. Just in case. But sleep evaded me. The cities hum a mocking lullaby. What had I become? The fixer for fraud? The enabler in her empire of lies? The betrayal hit like a freight train 2 months later. It was a Tuesday. Gray skies spitting rain on the parade of umbrellas funneling into Apex's lobby. I arrived early, a coffee in hand, to find security escorting boxes out of my office. MS. Harper. The guard's face was stone. HR sorters. Clear your desk. My heart slammed against my ribs. Upstairs, the trading floor buzzed with averted eyes and hushed tones. Tori's door was ajar. I barged in, fury boiling. She was on the phone. Back to me, voice smooth as silk. Yes, Senator. Contained. Our girl's taking the fall clean. She hung up, turned, and met my glare with a smile that could curdle milk. Lila. Sit. What the fuck? I spat, slamming the door. My office? My job. She gestured to the chair opposite her desk. Legs crossed like a therapist in a bad drama. The SEC circling. That tip? It led straight to the fund. But don't worry, I've got it handled. Her tone was maternal. Condescending. You're resigning. Effective immediately. Personal reasons. Generous severance. References glowing like the sun. I laughed. Bitter. And you? Walk away clean? Her smile tightened. Darling, that's how it works. You knew the game. She slid a folder across, resignation letter. Pre-signed by me? Forged. Sign it. And we're golden. Remember that night at the bar? I owe you. This is me paying up. Owe me? The words ignited something feral. You owe me my life.
Tori.
I covered your ass, literally dragged you from feds. Falsified everything for you. She leaned forward, eyes gleaming. And now you get to walk away a rich woman.
Or.
Fight it. See how that plays in court. Who's the drunk fool who spiked whose drink to save the day? Spiked? The lie landed like a slap. She'd twisted it, implied I'd drugged her to extract a confession? Paranoia clawed my throat. You recorded us? That hug? The coffee? All bait. Tori shrugged, elegant as a shrug could be. Insurance. Sweetie.
You taught me that.
She stood,
Circling the desk.
hand on my shoulder.
Sign.
Or I leak the audio, your voice. My slurs. Lila Harper, the ambitious climber who dosed her boss. Front page scandal. Your career?
Ash.
I shoved her hand off. Storming out. The folder clutched like a grenade. In the elevator, tears burned rage, not sorrow. She'd buried her sins in my loyalty,
And now she'd exhume them to bury me.
but as the doors dinged open to the lobby, a plan crystallized, cold and unyielding. Revenge wasn't a word, it was a blueprint. That night, in the dim glow of my laptop, I started digging. Offshore accounts? Traceable. Senatorial connections? Hackable with the right dark web tutorial. Tori's ex-husbands? Bitter enough for dirt. I wasn't just an analyst, I was a quant. Numbers were my weapon. And numbers never lied. By week's end, I'd resigned on my terms with a non-disclosure that bit her more than me. Severance check cleared, and I vanished into Brooklyn's underbelly, subletting a loft in Williamsburg from a barista I'd met at a poetry slam. New hair, cropped.
Auburn. New name online. Eve Thorne.
But Lila Harper seethed beneath. Plotting. First move, the X. Number 2. A tech bro named Derek who'd lost half his startup in the divorce. Met him at a dive in Bushwick, nursing a PBR. Eyes haunted. Tori? That viper. 2 whiskeys in. He spilled hidden assets. A love child in Jersey she'd paid off. And a penchant for creative accounting dating back to Lehman Brothers. She framed me once, stole code. Blamed a hack. Cost me everything. I nodded. Sympathetic. Slipping him my number. Sounds like she needs a reckoning. By morning, I had emails, proof of her pilfering his patents. Leverage 1. Next, the senator. Harlan Voss. Old money from Connecticut. Chair of the Finance Committee. Tori's daddy in D.C. Or so the rumors went. A quick LinkedIn stalk led to his chief of staff. A disillusioned millennial drowning in student debt. Coffee in Foggy Bottom virtual.
Zoom from a VPN.
Harlan's clean on the surface, she typed. Voice distorted. But Tori? She's his dirty secret. Campaign donations funneled through Apex. Kickbacks. I pressed. Specifics. Files dropped. PDFs of wire transfers. Ghost LLCs. Senator Voss's re-election hinged on purity. This would tar him black. Leverage 2.
Tori.
Oblivious. Texted. Miss you at the office. Lila. Doors open if you want back in. I deleted it. Smiling. The board was set. But revenge is a mirror. It reflects your own rot. Sleepless nights. I'd stare at the ceiling, the recording playing on loop. Her voice, my good girl, was I saving her that night? Or auditioning for the noose? And the feds, had they really been random? Or was it a setup? Paranoia whispered. She knew they were coming.
Tested me. Passed.
Only to fail me later. 3 months in. The first strike landed. Anonymous tip to the journal. Tori's ex's patents. Traced to Apex's AI trading bot. Headline. Wall Street widows web of stolen innovation. Stock dipped 3%. She called. Voice steel. Cute. Lila. But game's end. I hung up. Pulse racing. Game on. Winter clamped down on New York like a bad divorce. Bitter. Unrelenting. Turning the Hudson into a sheet of hammered steel. I holed up in the loft. Space heater wheezing against the chill. My days a blur of code and caffeine.
By day,
I freelanced as a data consultant for startups in Flatiron. Low-profile gigs that paid the rent without questions. By night, I was a ghost in the machine, unraveling Tori's tapestry thread by thread. Leverage 3 came from the love child. A 24-year-old barista in Newark, fitting, named Mia. With Tori's cheekbones and none of her charm. Found her on Instagram, scrolling through latte art and vague captions about absent moms. DM'd as a journalist. Story on Apex whistleblowers. Your input. She bit. Meeting me at a Jersey diner that smelled of grease and regret. Mia stirred her coffee. Eyes wary. Mom, Victoria, paid me off when I was 16. 50 grand to disappear. Said it'd ruin her if it got out. Bitterness laced her words like syrup on pancakes. I signed the NDA. But fuck it. She ruined Dad instead. I slid over a burner phone. Record everything. Send it to this drop. By dawn. I had audio. Mia's tearful account. Corroborated by bank statements I'd acquired via a shady accountant contact from Derek. The puzzle piece fit. Tori's family values shtick at women's conferences. Hypocrisy gold. I held fire. Building the arsenal. Tori's flips were legendary. She'd charm a room. Then torch it for sport. Whispers from ex-colleagues. Bought with Venmo anonymity, she'd framed a rival trader for insider trading. Slept with the CEO to bury it. Her decisions? Controversial as hell. Diversity hires she later canned for cultural fit. Bonuses clawed back post-scandal. No one hated her more than they envied her. My own doubts gnawed. Was this justice or jealousy? That promotion had tasted sweet. Without her, I'd be spreadsheets forever. But the forged resignation? The threat? It festered like an open wound. Strike 2, the senator. Timed for his fundraisers. I leaked the kickbacks to Politico, sanitized. No direct ties to me. Headline. Finance chair's shadowy Wall Street ties raise eyebrows. Voss's office spun it as routine consulting, but donors pulled. Tori's name surfaced in footnotes. Apex's key advisor. Her stock tanked another 5%. Board meetings leaked as crisis mode. She escalated. My freelance client? Apex poached them overnight. Citing conflicts.
subtle.
Then the texts, playing with fire. Lila.
Come home.
We can fix this. I blocked the number. But not before screenshotting. Pattern of harassment. If needed. Holidays hit like a gut punch. Christmas Eve. Alone with takeout lo mein and a bottle of cheap Merlot. I cracked. Called my sister in Philly, estranged since Mom's funeral. where I'd borrowed inheritance cash for student loans. Lila, you sound wrecked. I spilled fragments. The betrayal. The plot. She sighed. Sounds like you're becoming her. Stop before you can't. Her words echoed as snow piled outside. Becoming her? No, I was the wronged one. The savior turned sacrifice. But the mirror lied. My eyes had hardened. Reflection a stranger's. New year brought resolve. January thaw. And I struck deeper, the SEC tip. Compiled dossier, embezzlement trails, falsified reports with my forged signatures scrubbed. Mailed from a P.O. box in Queens. Anonymous as sin. By February, subpoenas flew. Apex's shares cratered 12%. Tori went radio silent, but her digital footprint screamed panic, frantic calls to lawyers. A sudden sabbatical announcement. I should have stopped there, walked away richer in karma. But the twist came unbidden. A curveball from the grave. Mom's old diaries. Unearthed in a storage purge, yellowed pages from her nursing days in the 90s. Tori's mom, Victoria Sr., had been her patient, dying of cancer. Bright girl. Tori, Mom wrote. But cold. Blamed me for a med error that killed her pa. Swore revenge. Med error? The overdose that started the Langford feud. Mom took the fall, lost her license, spiraled into debt. Suicide 5 years later. Tori's grudge? Buried deep. Handed down like heirloom venom. She targeted me because I was Mom's daughter, subtle digs in meetings. Your mother's name rings a bell. The bar night? Not random. She'd orchestrated the Fed's presence via a tip herself. Testing if I'd cover. Like Mom hadn't. Betrayal squared. Personal vendetta masked as corporate chess. Rage redoubled. But so did the gray. Was Tori the monster? Or the monster's daughter? Her flips, mood swings. Ruthless calls. Echoes of trauma? I pushed it down. Revenge didn't need therapy. Spring bloomed fraudulent in Central Park as Apex imploded.
Tori testified.
Poise cracking on live feeds. A rogue analyst, Lila Harper, manipulated the books. My name. Dragged through mud. Old colleagues damned. She's pinning it on you. Feds knocking.
Panic? No.
Preparation. I'd seeded alibis, fake consulting logs. Timestamps syncing with her sabbatical, emails I'd hacked. The recording? Backed up. Timestamped pre-betrayal. Climax brewed in May. Humid as a fever dream. Tori reached out via Derek, desperate plea for meat. Neutral ground, he relayed. She's breaking. The spot, an abandoned warehouse in Red Hook. Brooklyn, ironic. Her ex's old startup haunt. Dusk. Fog rolling off the water like cigarette smoke. I arrived early. .38 in my purse, borrowed from a self-defense class. Unloaded but heavy. Symbolic. She pulled up in a rental Beamer. No entourage. Looking diminished. Hair limp. Suit wrinkled. Lila. Her voice cracked. First time. Truce. We circled crates like duelists. Air thick with rust and regret. You started this, I said. Voice steady. Mom's death? Your vendetta? Her laugh was hollow. She killed my father. Overdose. Accidental. But I saw the charts. Malpractice. Tears?
No.
Just calculation. I built this for her. For us.
You.
You're the echo I couldn't silence. Echo. The word hung. So you framed me? Let me carry your sins? She stepped closer. Hand out. Join me. We expose Voss. Split the pot. Mom's revenge. Together. Flip, ally now. From enemy. Controversial as hell. Team up. Or torch it all. My finger twitched toward the gun. Pull it, loaded or not, and end the cycle? Or take the deal? Become the villain I hated? The warehouse echoed our breaths. The city's distant roar, a jury waiting. I chose. Handed her the .38. Grip first. Load it yourself. Her eyes widened. Trust test. She did. Chamber clicking like fate. Pointed it at me. Steady. Bang, she whispered. Then, twist. She pressed it to her temple. Or this. The shot rang blank, but the scream was real. Hers, as she collapsed, feigning. No, wait. That was the plan? Sirens wailed. My anonymous tip to NYPD. Suicide attempt at warehouse. She survived. Of course. But the narrative? Twisted. Morning headlines. Apex CEO's breakdown. Blames dead colleague's daughter in rant. Polarizing perfection. Was I the avenger or the instigator? Her flip, suicide ploy to martyr. Frame me as abuser? Or genuine break? Debates raged on Reddit. Fox vs. MSNBC. Victim or villainous? I slipped away. But the noose tightened. Feds at my door by noon. Summer scorched Brooklyn like God's own broiler, turning the loft into a sweatbox of second thoughts. The warehouse suicide blew up faster than Enron. Cable news loops of Tori on a stretcher, wailing about ghosts from the past. My name dropped like a bomb. Lila Harper, the analyst she trusted, turned Judas, some pundit drawled on CNN. Social media fractured. Justice for Tori camps calling me a gold-digging psycho. Apex exposed threads dissecting her frauds, painting me reluctant hero. I ghosted deeper. Burner phones ditched. VPNs layered like onion skin. But ghosts cling. Mia called from the diner payphone. Mom's out. Blaming you for everything. Says you spiked her, tried to kill her. The love child. Now pawn. Derek emailed. She's lawyered up. Voss too. They're coming for blood. Even my sister, Lila.
Turn yourself in.
This ain't you. Wasn't it? The mirror mocked, hollow cheeks. Eyes like spent cartridges. Revenge's high faded to crash, insomnia. Bourbon dreams where mom whispered. Stop the cycle. But cycles spin on momentum. Tori's flip in the warehouse? Masterstroke or madness? She'd loaded the gun. Aimed at herself. But the blanks were my idea, symbolic suicide for her sins. Yet she'd spun it, leaked bodycam audio, how, where I coerced the act. Gaslight genius. Feds knocked mid-July. 2 suits in chinos sweating through their ties. MS. Harper? Special Agent Ruiz. Mind a chat. My sublet was vacant. Landlord in on the hush money. I met them at a Starbucks in Park Slope. Neutral. Crowded. Lattes steamed as Ruiz slid photos. Warehouse blueprints. My prints on the gun. Gloves? Sloppy. Tori Langford alleges assault. Says you orchestrated her breakdown. I sipped.
Come.
She's the orchestrator. Check the SEC filings. I was her fall guy. Played the recording, edited. Her confession pristine. Their eyebrows arched. This changes things. But doubt lingered in their glances. Who to believe? The polished CEO or the vengeful analyst? They left with copies. Promises of follow-up. I bolted to Jersey. crashing with Mia in her cramped apartment above the coffee shop. She paced. Chain-smoking camels. Why'd you do it? For Grandma. Mom's shadow loomed. Victoria Sr.'s overdose. The lawsuit Mom lost. License revoked. Tori's grudge. Generational poison. Nah, I lied. For me. Truth. For the girl who'd idolized Tori's power. Only to choke on its thorns. Mia softened, handing me a mug of diner sludge. She's like that, flips on you, then reels you back. Did it to Dad. To me. Nights. We'd plot over takeout. Her NDA voided by the scandal. Ready to testify. But Tori struck first. August heat wave. And Voss's bill passed. Gutting SEC oversight. Apex stabilized. Shares rebounding on restructuring. Her interview on 60 Minutes. Poised. Tearful. Betrayal cuts deepest from those you save. Cut to me. Grainy photo. Fugitive analysts sought for questioning. Fugitive. The word thrilled and terrified. I dyed my hair platinum. Fled to Philly, sister's couch. Reluctant harbor. You're toxic, Lila, she said.
But cooked pasta anyway.
There. In the suburbs quiet. The high wore off. Therapy? A walk-in clinic. Shrink with the Eagles mug. Revenge is deferred grief, she said. For Mom? For the career? Or for the innocence Tori stole? The loyalty she weaponized? Decision loomed. Surrender. Cut a deal. Testify against her. Take probation. Or double down. Final blow. The antagonist's moxie infected me. Her flips inspired mine. Allied to Mia? Betray Derek for more dirt? Controversial calculus. Burn Voss completely. Risk innocence? Labor Day weekend. I chose fire. Hacked Voss's emails, dark web script. Adrenaline-fueled. Jackpot. Direct bribes from Apex. Laundered through charities. Leaked to ProPublica. Timed for his victory lap speech in D.C. Chaos. Impeachment whispers. Donors fleeing like rats. Tori's empire teetered. Board ousted her temporarily, but she lawyered ferocious. Countersuits flying. My name? Slander Central. Harper's vendetta destroys jobs. Families. Polarization peaked. Protests outside Apex. Suits versus. Activists. Corporate greed kills, signs clashing with innocent until proven. Online. Forums debated. Was I whistleblower or witch hunter? Tori's flips, from victim to viper, mirrored in comments. She deserved it, versus. Two wrongs don't make a right. Harper's the real sociopath. October chill brought convergence. Feds reappeared. This time with warrants, my sister's address.
Sloppy.
You're under arrest.
Harper.
Obstruction. Conspiracy. Cuffs cold as betrayal. Ride to the field office. Philly's skyline blurring. Regret acrid. Interrogation room. Fluorescent buzz. Coffee like tar. Ruiz across the table. New partner, female. Sharp-eyed. Tori's talking. Immunity if you flip on Voss. Her offer, testify. Expose the rot. But the twist nod. Recording surfaced, my voice. Post-warehouse. Coaching Mia. Tell them Tori confessed everything. Entrapment or truth? I leaned in.
Deal.
But the full tape, her bar confession. They nodded. But I said, gray area. Released on bond. Ankle monitors itch a reminder, freedom's leash. Back in New York. Holiday lights mocking. I prepped. Tori's trial loomed, December docket. Federal courthouse in Foley Square. My testimony, star witness or sacrificial lamb. Her lawyers painted me as obsessed stalker, mine pro bono ACLU type as truth teller. Media circus, paparazzi at my door, death threats in DMs. Climax night, eve of trial, snow dusting the streets like confetti from hell. Tori's team reached out, back channel via Derek.
Meet.
One last flip. Location, the velvet rope. Full circle. I went. Wired for sound. .38 ghost in my coat, legal now. Concealed carry from the chaos. Bar hummed low. Springsteen crooning again. Tori at our old booth. Scotch neat. Looking spectral, thinner. Eyes haunted. Lila. No honey, just weariness. This ends tonight. I slid in. Heart thunder. Your move. She poured a second glass. Pushed it over.
Truce.
Real one. Boss goes down, we both walk. I take the embezzlement hit. You get the whistleblower halo. Flip, partner in crime to confessor. For your mom.
Mine.
The sins we carry. Controversial core. Forgive. Or condemn. Her hand trembled, genuine? Or ploy to record my extortion? The bar's murmur faded. It was us. Echoes of that drunken night. I raised the glass. To buried secrets.
Drank deep.
But as she smiled, victory, I slipped the wire's fob under the table. Activated. Her words spilled. Admissions. Voss plots. The frame job on me. All caught. Crystal. Betrayal's echo. Her eyes widened as I stood. You bitch. No, we were.
Sirens outside. My tip. Timed.
Feds swarmed, cuffing her mid-snarl. Harper, you'll rot. But the tape? Her undoing. Trial dawned crisp. Courthouse steps mobbed. My testimony, measured. Damning. Tori's cross, vicious. Flipping victim narrative. She saved me once, to destroy me. Jury split. Deliberations dragged days. Headlines screaming deadlock. The polarization? Electric. Water cooler wars. Tori's a survivor versus Lila's justice porn. No heroes. Just flawed femmes fatale. December's verdict hung like a guillotine. 3 days of jury deadlock. Foreman emerging pale as mistletoe. Not guilty on conspiracy, he announced. Voice cracking under the gallery's gasp. Guilty on fraud. 2 counts. Tori, in navy Chanel, didn't flinch, smiled. Even. As if scripted. 5 years. Probation. Restitution. Slap on the wrist for Wall Street royalty. Voss. Indicted separately. But plea bargained to a fine. Apex rebranded. Shares soaring on fresh start.
Me?
Acquitted fully. Whistleblower protections kicked in. ACLU parade. But victory tasted like ash. Paparazzi hounded my sister's doorstep. Job offers dried to whispers. Too hot, recruiters murmured. Mia vanished to California. NDA payout sweetened. Derek? Ghosted. Rumor of a new startup in Austin. New Year's Eve. Back in a loft, evicted from Philly by family strain, I uncorked champagne alone. City fireworks mocking solitude. The twist landed via certified mail, Tori's parting gift. Post-sentencing. A thumb drive. Labeled echoes. Plugged in. Her video confession played, haggard face. Prison jumpsuit fresh. Lila. You won. But know this, the bar? I knew the feds were mine, tip I planted to test you. like mom tested mine. Generational.
See?
You carried my sin. Now carry the truth. Attached files. Mom's error? Forged by Victoria's Senior's rivals. Insurance scam gone wrong. Mom innocent. Framed posthumously by Tori's grief-fueled hack. The real killer? Negligence by the hospital. Buried in settlements. Twists barb. I'd avenged a lie. Tori's flips? Not malice alone, but madness inherited. Her mom's diaries. Rants of paranoia. She'd become the monster despite it. And me? I'd mirrored her, saved, betrayed, revenged in kind. No right, no wrong, just cycles spinning into abyss. Debate fodder. Forums exploded. Harper's the villain, destroyed a broken woman versus Langford deserved worse, systems rigged. Podcast dissected. Feminist takedown or tragic feud. I lurked. Anonymous. The polarizing heart. Spring thawed the freeze. I took a gig in Seattle, remote quant for a green tech firm. Low stakes. High views of Puget Sound. Therapy stuck. Forgive yourself first. Easier said.
Nights.
I'd walk the waterfront. Fairy horns like distant calls. Mom's ghost? Faded to fond. Tori's? A scar.
Itching.
One April dawn. Email pinged. Burner. From inside.
Tori.
Paroled early on good behavior. Missed the game. Lila? Doors open consulting. Off books. Laugh or block. I typed. Echoes end here. Sent. Deleted. But revenge's boomerang arcs eternal. Months later. News alert. Apex whistleblower suit. New face, Mia. Testifying on hidden assets. My doing? Nah. Her choice. Cycle broken. Maybe. Ending? No tidy bow. I stand on the ferry deck. Wind whipping. City lights blurring to stars. Saved a drunk boss from trouble. She couldn't pretend she'd forgotten. But in the forgetting, we both remembered too much. Happy? In fragments, freedom's quiet wage. Tragic? In the what-ifs. The blood not spilled, but spilled anyway. In souls. America's underbelly, where loyalty's a loaded gun. And pulling the trigger leaves you wondering who fired first.
Me?
I'm done loading.
For now.